We are getting ready to leave Wyoming this morning. We're getting everything hooked up. I have everything done inside. Have my checklist all checked off. And right now, Rickey is wiping off the jack stand.
Here we go. All we need is an open road and a chance to see a never-ending world that's beautiful. Here we go with the sunlight on our skin. It's a brand new day. It's ours to take and we will let it in. This is where the adventure begins.
Check our lights. Lights, blinkers, everything looks good. first I want to start off and let you know what has happened since we left Wyoming. We were headed to Bayfield, Colorado, and we thought we had one day in between, but we actually had 2 nights. So we left Wyoming, and that was Sunday. We went about halfway of the trip and stopped in Prince, Utah, spent the night at a Walmart, and the next morning I just wanted to check our reservations to be sure that check-in date was what I thought it was, but it was not. So it turned out to be we had 2 nights. So we were just south of Moab, and we decided to pull over at a rest area. And as we pulled in, we saw a young boy walk across the parking lot. He came over to Rickey and asked if he could ask him a few questions. He had an issue with his trailer. He had a car hauler trailer that he was hauling 3 vehicles on. And come to find out, he had broke a bolt on a leaf spring. So Rickey was able to pull our truck over close and use his air tools and get all of that repaired as Eli helped him. And we were there probably about an hour getting him up and going again. So he left and headed on toward Moab, and we headed on south down through Utah. Well, today we only had an hour drive from Cortez to Vallecito, where we're staying for a month, and we were going up this grade and the truck just shut down. So we actually are in the merging lane of Highway 140 that turns just up there. So we're in this merging lane, and Rickey was able to get the trailer pulled over off of the merging lane just a little bit. and we called our roadside assistance, coachnet. So that was about 10 o'clock this morning, and now they are here. The wrecker's here hooking up to us. So the tow truck owner, Paul, was trying to troubleshoot our problem. He had his mechanic on the phone and couldn't figure out at that point, but the mechanic told him to tow it on in, that he felt like he knew pretty much what the problem was.
We're here with Jason now from
3E Mechanical.
Okay. Denise has already told you partly what happened yesterday with us, and we were talking just a while ago. This is information to me that is good to know, and for other RVers to know about places in areas like this that you might not necessarily look at to do mechanical work. So I asked Jason what it stood for, and he started explaining that to me, so I'll let him carry on.
And we're in Aztec, New Mexico?
Yes, ma'am.
That's correct.
So as he asked me, our other business name is 3E Energy Services. They started off doing oil field equipment and roadside jobs, and when COVID hit, a lot of that got shut down up here, so we transferred into mechanical work, and now we do some fleet servicing and such, but our mechanics are more geared toward heavy duty, whether it's trailers or semis or what have you, and we've dealt with a couple of RVs at this point as well, and we tend to pride ourselves on being quick and fairly cheap and getting it done right, and done right the first time.
Well, there again, last night, we would have not known, but Paul, the owner of, is it Southwest or something?
Southwest Auditor.
Southwest. They told us in when he first came, and he actually crawled under the truck and looked, and he said, man, I just don't believe there's much wrong. And he couldn't find anything. He called Brent, one of the owners, correct?
Yes.
That's here. And talked to him, and he couldn't figure it out. So he said, I'm going to take you by my mechanic. And he said, I trust him. And there are people in life that you meet that really, I think that you don't have to be around too long to realize that they're genuine people. They're true people, and Paul wanted to help. He could have just took me, I won't mention the other place, but took me to another place that
couldn't get to us until Thursday.
They couldn't get to us, but not only that, and just not worried about it, but he was concerned about getting us going, and so he drug us up here. Brent waited, obviously hooked it up, and the computer up, and he first thought it was a bulkhead. He said, but let me check something else. And to me, the comical part about it is my tester had messed up, and I didn't pull every fuse out, and the fuse that really had something to do, you know, not even a 50-cent fuse, shut my whole truck down. But I don't believe in coincidences in my life, although, you know, wasn't really happy about it. When we got here, Brett checked it out and found the fuse, put the fuse in, and I mean, it fired right up, solved that problem. But when he crawled under it, he saw another issue with the brake line. But when I was under it yesterday, I noticed it looked like the front wheel seal was leaking on it. So I asked him to look at that, and he said it was. And, you know, of course, it was late last night for, you know, like I say, he just stayed. And that's one thing Paul said. He said, no matter what time I call Brett, he said, you know, if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he said he'll come and do whatever he can do. So me, that says a whole lot. But in that, Patrick just pulled my truck apart. Well, at least the left front where the seal was leaking, and the bearing was going down it in as well. I just say all that, and a lot of people don't believe like I do, but I don't believe in coincidences in my life, and especially with the brake line here in the mountains. You know, if that had rubbed a hole.
When Brent crawled under it, he noticed the brake line was loose and rubbing a piece of metal.
Yeah, well, the bracket was broke. But anyway.
Which could have caused our brakes to go out.
And that's what he said. So around here, you know, a flat place is not good, but even in the mountains could be even worse. So that being said, we're sitting here and there a lot, you know, offered us a vehicle to drive last night if we wanted to go somewhere.
And what was your name again?
Jason.
So Jason is the parts guy.
Yeah.
So he's found all of our parts.
Should have them very shortly here, and hopefully have these folks back on the road this afternoon.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, you're on camera.
Shouldn't have.
Wow. You guys are good people, good conversation.
Well, me too. And we do thank you, appreciate it. But if we can at all, we're going to send anybody we can this way. But it's important to us to come to you about the 2 companies that we've been involved with in last week. And one of them is the towing service, which is Southwest Auto Towing, which is better known as SWAT. Paul, the owner, super nice guy, just took care of us in an awesome way. Was concerned so much about us, took us to his own mechanic, which he said could fix anything. And after I've met him, I believe that, which is 3E Mechanical. We did have a fuse shot that I didn't find. Actually, first thought it was a bulkhead, but turned out to be a fuse that time. Then we drove it a time or two, and a couple days later, it quit just like it did the first time, and called Brent, which is the major mechanic there, one of the owners of 3E Mechanical. He said, you on the side of the road? And I said, yeah. He said, well, I was headed somewhere else, but I will come to you. And he spent, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours with us trying to find everything that he could. Finally found it. It was another connector that was blown, and we put that in. So far, so good, and just believing that's it. And like I say, we've got an older 2007 truck, and you know, bouncing up down some of these highways that we have in the United States could cause anything. I do highly recommend them again, Southwest Auto Towing, SWAT, and 3E Mechanical.